In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hey, hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live stream show and podcast. How you doing this morning? Tudo bem? Como vai? Let me know in the chat. Exciting show for you this morning. We'll probably take it a little bit easy in the first half hour because we've got a very exciting Consumer Tuesday show lined up. Your good old mate, our good pal, Nuno Mendes from Winsurance will be with us at 9 o'clock. Answering any questions you've got about insurance. And of course, we love to talk to him about Portuguese culture and lifestyle as well, his interest. Well, we call him the Bear Grylls, don't we, of the insurance world. So it'll be great to talk to him about his hobbies, as well as his professional interests, of course, insurance. Then at 9:30 or thereabouts, Sarah Davey will be joining us. Very popular Sarah Davey from Spartan FX. That will be Spartan. With very exciting news about the fluctuations of currency around the world. Still looking good, is it not? I don't know. I haven't looked for a few hours, so it might have changed. I haven't looked for 3 minutes, so it might have changed in the currency world, but we'll find out from Sarah. She's better able to speak about that than I am. If you're changing dollars into euros or pounds into euros, I think it's quite good. Not financial advice there, but I think it's an exciting time to be doing that. Not so great for the euro, but good if you're a pound or dollar holder. So let's find out from Sarah at 9:30 all about that. Let's ease our way into the show then this morning. I've found that on this Consumer Tuesday, two of those fantastic surveys. Portugal's the best country in the world. Guess what? Portugal's the best country in the world. Guess what? They just keep coming, don't they? Which is fantastic. I have one this morning, which is comes from it's called Inspiration, actually. Condé Nast Traveler. I think we've been there before, haven't we? And these are the safest countries in the world, despite COVID-related turmoil. These 10 countries remained relatively safe and secure over the past year. I'll tell you all 10, and of course, we'll focus on Portugal today. And there was another one. As I was scrolling through Facebook, I know I shouldn't, as the first thing I do in the morning, but I was, and maybe I've saved it before, and that's why I can't see it. And it's really weird. I don't know if I've talked about this before, I think, but do you save things to your saved items in Facebook and then never look again? Or you save something and you think to yourself, I want that. And you've saved it before, so you can't find it when you go to save it, if you see what I mean. Also, something I kind of nearly got to tell you about was that paid drinking job as well that I know some of you will be interested in. So I think that's a little bit easier for me to find this morning than that second survey. But if you've got that in your front of your mind, having scrolled through Facebook yourself this morning, any surveys that put Portugal in a good light or even in a bad light, we're open to talking about that and questioning why anyone would dare to say something like that. But any surveys that feature Portugal, why not discuss them today on Consumer Tuesday on the Good Morning Portugal show from expatsportugal.com. Have you noticed, if you've been over there on the forum, have you noticed some little changes over there? There's some little improvements on the forum. It's changed its color and styling, and I would say a lot easier to read and access. And I like and dislike things over there on the forum. So check it out at expatsportugal.com/community. Who's in this morning then? Let's have a look. Nunu's already here, getting ready. And Chris is in, Deagle, Ian, we got a God Squad tip of the day. Victoria, thank you, Victoria, for showing us your tomatoes last night. Stephen Wells is in as well. Good morning to all of you. Where's Moaz? Is he nursing a hangover left over from last night? 60th birthday yesterday, of course. And it was lovely to see little Eve, head gardener McGrady's little Eve on the screen yesterday. That was a real lovely moment when she was presented to the world yesterday afternoon on the gardening live stream. Okay, then let's have a look. Let's do the God Squad tip of the day. Thank you, Ian, for this and the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games. Did you enjoy a bit of Ozzy Osbourne as well? Anybody who might have watched that? Looked a little bit demonic to me, but that's his vibe, isn't it? Ozzy's been doing that forever. Let's then go to no connection intended here between Ozzy Osbourne and Coach Turner this morning. But let's have a little bit of this and come to his tip straight after. No,
mixed with some insanity on the morning show at GMP.
Okay, then I watched Star Wars at the weekend. Actually, always puts that in a well, reminds you why we stand on the face of Darth Vader every morning with the God Squad tip of the day. Here it is from the coach. Exercise causes endorphins to be released in the body. These both suppress pain and improve your mood. Several studies show it helps mental health. Just do it. Be happy. So. Yeah, I suppose that exercise can be framed a certain way in our minds, can't it? Because it does hurt sometimes. And you know what Coach Turner says? If it hurts, stop. So that's one of the rules of. It's almost like the first rule of Fight Club. The first rule of Growing Old Disgracefully Club is if it hurts well, I suppose the first rule is not to talk about exercise, but no, we do that. We put it in front of you each morning, or Coach Turner does. The primary rule: if it hurts, stop and get some help with what's paining you. And perhaps over time change that framing that you might have about exercise and mobility and movement, and challenge those ideas. Old age doesn't come alone, and all those sorts of things. Some people are living proof that although you might get a little bit creaky, of course, wear and tear on the body, it can still be a lot of fun to get into the habit of exercising. Not least because, as Coach Turner says here, endorphins, feel-good chemicals, are released into the body, which, as you begin to associate those with exercise, your body will look forward to going out and doing something and getting a little bit strenuous and breathy. See, I'm already reframing it in a very positive way. He doesn't like to get strenuous and breathy first thing in the morning, but you might begin to associate. Your muscle memory might be positive rather than negative, and before you know it, you're zipping up your boots or doing up your trainers, and out you go. A nice little reframe there. Thank you for mention of endorphins this morning, Coach Turner. Deagle, bon dia, Carl and Gumpus from a very hot Belfast, already 17 degrees, not 70, steady on, looking like 23 later. The good news in central Portugal is I think that fire that blazed for 3 days, destroying part of the Serra da Estrela range, is now under control. We'll take a quick look at fogwash.pt just to make sure about that, or ProSiv a little bit later on. Actually, the Nunu told us about ProSiv before. Let's make sure that that's safely extinguished now. But I think quite a lot of important flora and fauna sadly lost in that blaze. Higher temperatures than 17 degrees for sure, but looking like 23 in Belfast. Thank you, Deagle, for tuning in this morning. How are you? He's mentioning continental quilts. Now, that's quite a quaint turn of phrase, Deagle, I have to tell you. Already had my first coating of sunblock on in Belfast this morning. Was brutal. The overnight heat, no aircon. Ended up sleeping with the windows open, tossed, turned. Then around 1 a.m., took the quilt out of the bed covering. Just had the light sheet over me, dreading this week as I'm in Wednesday, Thursday night, sleeping in this awful heat. Oh, sleeping during the day, of course, in the heat. That's pretty awful for night workers, isn't it? Anyone on nights, shout out and lots of love to you. Sorry to hear that, Deagle. But continental quilt, only you and my grandma call it that still, I think, continental quilt. But for anyone on the continent as well, which is another old-fashioned turn of phrase, it's what you used to say in the UK, continental quilt, when it was, people would go on holidays and be trying these newfangled continental quilts, because back in the UK we were still, using maybe Winsiet sheets, candlewick bedspreads and blankets. anyone remember that? Well, anyone who can relate to this comment from Chris will probably remember that. Hola, bon dia a todos. Faixa do dia is Christopher Cross's Greece is the word. Isn't that Frankie Valli? Rather than Christopher Cross there. But we understand, Capricorn 12, Chris, your reference here, dedicated to all of us, part of our childhood died yesterday. So, yes, rest in peace. Dame Olivia Newton-John, who passed away yesterday. Sad to see that news. And thank you, Chris, for mentioning that. Deagle, resonating with you. Capricorn, very sad news about Olivia Newton-John. You always imagine her as a young person because of the film. Of course you do, in those tight leather pants of hers from Greece. But then again, we also remember singing Country Roads Take Me Home, don't we? Also, or similar. More of a sort of a nice girl next door look that she also sported during her career. I think Carl runs on Gilda's 3 minutes late. All right, banging on the door of the pub, trying to get in for an early drink. I'm not sure I was that late this morning. And if it wasn't for Nunu telling me to start, I would have been late. Nunu said, oh, it's 8:30. You need to start. Oh, okay, yeah. See you in a bit. See you at 9. Victoria with an hola bon dia kids from a deliciously cool morning in Portimao this morning. How are you doing there? And Stephen with a bon dia. And in Hertfordshire, it's 26 already. So the heat wave continues in the UK. Interesting. Brian's in now. How's that ankle of yours, Brian? Bon dia to you. Deagle. It's low 60s at night and high 70s in the afternoons this week. Absolutely lovely. But you're not having to, I was going to say, you're not having to sleep in it, Victoria, but perhaps you are having a little snooze in the afternoon and enjoying a sleep in that, probably in a bikini. So, Deagle, that may be the thing to do is get a bikini on, mate. Get yourself in a nice sun lounger in the back garden, get your bikini on, and that's probably the way to approach it. Look at me, I'm Sandra D. Yeah, look at that. So sad to hear about Olivia Newton-John. You too as well, Victoria, of course. And Carl, when you were young and in the UK, it was on the continent. Now you are older and moved, so you are incontinent. Stop that. Yes, and well, so Facebook would tell me with the stair lift adverts and the incontinence pants that they're trying to market at me. I just think it backfires, which is probably the wrong choice of words when it comes to talking about incontinence pants, right? Okay, thank you everybody for your early comments. Continents, yes, of course. Continent, the shop doesn't help, does it? When you ring home, I'm incontinent. Do you need anything? That's when you wish you'd gone to Aldi or Lidl. When you shouted that out in the supermarket and everyone's turned around to see who that English guy is airing his personal issues out loud in the supermarket. Anyway, let's have a look at this on Consumer Tuesday. I've got a couple of things for you. A summer job that involves tasting wine. And these are the safest countries before we welcome Nunu and Sarah Davey from Spartan FX onto the screen. Nunu, of course, who's going to be here helping with your insurance questions. First of all, though, the safest countries in the world, Condé Nast Traveler, have taken a look at this, and we can share the results with you. I don't know if these are in a particular order. Oh, they are scores. They are scores. Okay, let's see how Portugal does with this. Of course, I was going to say to be taken with a pinch of Portuguese rock salt. I don't know. Let's find out, shall we? Let me actually bring it onto the screen for you so you can see it yourself as well. Very nice image. Yeah, let's start with that. Is that Lisbon there? I don't know. Showing my ignorance. I don't know where that is actually. That because this is a survey of the results from 10 countries, and I think I did buy some Dr. Bayard yesterday. Portuguese rock salt, Portuguese water, delicious. Safety is an important factor. Hold on. I think I'm ready now. Safety is an important factor when choosing a destination, whether you're a solo traveler or an expat. But how do you know which are the safest countries in the world? With outdated reputations and misinformation floating around. What, really? On the internet? This is from April 25th, 2022. So a little bit earlier on in the year, but I don't think much will have changed. Or maybe it has in certain places. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. It can be hard, It can be hard to determine which places really do and don't provide a sense of security. So let's take a look at those now. Safest countries in the world. And we begin with, what do we begin with? We begin with, oh no, we don't. We've got a bit more backstory here. To help quantify the topic of safety, the Institute of Economics and Peace, the IEP, has released its annual global, what's this? Experience the Ultimate Arctic Adventure. Well, that does make a change from Stana lifts and incontinence pads. To help quantify the topic of, okay, we've done that bit. The IEP, a data-driven measurement of global peacefulness. Oh, global peacefulness. Anyone remember that? Probably not. This year's results show that the average level of peace deteriorated by 0.07% from the year before, which is unsurprising given how COVID-19 visibly shook up the lives of nearly everyone in the world. Well, that's not such a bad rise, is it? 0.07%. The report notes that while some factors like the death toll from terrorism have improved over time, the death toll has improved. It got better, presumably. The amount of COVID-related violent incidents, COVID-related violence, riots in response to lockdown, okay, targeted physical assaults, etc., from 2020 to 21 were off the charts. In fact, there were at least 158 countries that recorded one or more violent incidents directly related to the pandemic during this time. We're getting into that long grass and the devil of the detail of statistics here, aren't we? Despite current events, the latest GPI rankings look fairly similar to previous years. Hint, the country in the first spot has remained the same for the past 13 years. To assemble the list, the IEP ranks 163 nations using 3 domains of peacefulness: the level of societal safety and security, the extent of ongoing domestic. I'm carefully watching those adverts here to see how well targeted they are. Don't you worry. And I'm sure some others are as well. So we've got the extent of ongoing domestic and international conflict and the degree of militarization. Within those domains, the organization looks at 23 qualitative and quantitative indicators. If you've ever wondered what the IEP do all day, this is it. And they're looking at incarceration rates, homicide rates, deaths from internal conflict. That sounds like existential angst, doesn't it? Internal conflict, but I don't think that's what that means. Perceptions of criminality and more. The scores are then averaged for an overall composite. The lower the score, the safer the space. Below, you'll find 10 safest countries in the world, along with each country's score, 1 being the most peaceful, 5 least peaceful. And before you even ask, the United States wasn't even close to breaking into the top 10. It sits in 122nd position. Oh, my goodness. And so, you know, this article has been updated with new information since its original published date. The value of your investments may go up as well as down. Canada, then, at number 10, with a 1.33, and no great surprise there. Okay, nice picture of the Czech Republic there, with its peacefulness extending beyond its serene skylines, and a score of 1.329 for the Czech Republic. Ireland at 1.326. Ireland is a new addition to the top 10 this year, jumping up 3 spots despite some violent anti-lockdown demos. The country's relatively low crime rate, good economy, and happy and friendly residents more than made up for any pandemic blips. And we don't want any pandemic blips first thing in the morning. Switzerland at 1.323, Austria at 1.317, and Slovenia 1.315. Slovenia broke into the top 10 for the first time in 2020 and managed to stay there this year. It even jumped up the charts there. And at number 4, Portugal. So let's dig into this, and a nice picture. Oh, no, that's Denmark, not Portugal. Of course it's Denmark. Look at that. That couldn't really be. There's not enough blue buildings in that for it to be Portugal. Portugal's made significant strides in peacefulness in recent years. In 2014, the country was transitioning out of financial crisis and was ranked 18th on the GPI. Today, it is a beacon of economic resurgence and low crime rates. Add to that a Mediterranean climate and affordable healthcare. And it's little wonder that so many people decide to retire here in their golden years. Wop, wop, wop. Okay, that's good, isn't it? And what is this? Wizink rewards. Okay, well, I'll go to the top 3 in just a moment. Morning, everybody. Where have you been? Will Thompson is here this morning. 17th 30-day Facebook ban. Just loving this descent into communism. Well, not here, Will Thompson. You're free to speak. Well, mostly. Good morning to you, Will. How are you doing? Matty's in as well now. Bon dia criaturas de Pombal this morning. Have you been able to find those tomato plants overnight? He needs tomato plants. And good morning, everyone from Gemini who joins us to find out what the top 3 safest countries are. According to Condé Nast Traveler, Portugal weighing in 4th place. And bon dia. I'm guessing COVID violence relates to hate crimes. I suppose that would be one classification, Amelie. And I think Korea comes into this as well. I don't know if you would concur with that. Still to come in the 10 minutes before Nunu and Sarah Davy join us. Our good buddy Nunu at 9, talking about insurance, facing your questions, talking about Portuguese culture. I wonder what he's got to say about the safest country results here. Let's go back to that and see what the top 3 are then. So Portugal, well done, Portugal, 1.267. Denmark, number 3. Price of beer is very different, I think. The main source of conflict is whether it's better to summer on the northern coast or soak up some hygge. What is that? Is that booze during the winter? On the data front, the nation stands out for its well-functioning government, low levels of corruption, and equitable distribution of resources. Okay, so there you go. Oh, and another fun fact, it's one of 29 countries where women are noticeably more satisfied with their own standards of living than men. There you go, in Denmark. And New Zealand is number 2. What's going on here now? The famous couples throughout Hollywood history. Pride and Prejudice. Well, enjoy the little vignette of Pride and Prejudice, if you will. New Zealand has basically 0 domestic and international conflict, at least despite the efforts of its Prime Minister, and has remained relatively unaffected by COVID-19 over the past few years. The Kiwi nation did record a very slight deterioration in their score this year, thanks to an increase in weapons imports and military spending. You don't think of New Zealand gearing up for war, but then I wouldn't put it past the PM there. Iceland then is number 1. Baddy, are you watching this morning? When you see this later, do give us a comment. Iceland is once again, it's interesting, isn't it? Baddy is from Iceland, from our community. Notable Gumper Baddy. Over there in Iceland at the moment, where there are volcanic eruptions, and she's moved to Portugal. Prefers to be in Portugal over Iceland. Once again, the most peaceful country in the region and the world. A position it has held since the inception of the index in 2008. The Nordic nation has some of the lowest military spending and international conflict rates in the world. Not having any shared borders surely helps. Yeah, and only 350,000 people, I believe. And its incarceration rate of 33 per 100,000 people is the lowest in all of Europe. And they're all bankers, aren't they? Or they were a few years ago anyway. Wonder what happened. Do you remember when Iceland was held up as the place to show the rest of the world how to treat bankers? Was that Facebook misinformation or was it true? Anyway, well done, Portugal, for being 4th in that Condé Nast Traveller safest countries in the world survey there. I'm going to stop sharing that now and quickly share with you another excellent article, a summer job that involves tasting wine, which I will tell you about before Nunu and Sarah get here. Let me do that for you now. If you haven't visited Iceland yet, put it on your life list. Okay, thank you, Amelie. And maybe get a itinerary from Baddy as well. Jim's in this morning and Ubi as well. Ubi, are we meeting up before you go on this trip? Thank you for your message. Appreciate that. And maybe you could come along to the meetup tomorrow and see you there, just down the road from you. And I did look up the song that you were quoting earlier on. Forgive me. And I've forgotten what it is again now, but I did look it up and played it. I take a load off me, isn't it? The Wait, is it called? Let's have a look at that summer job involving wine tasting in sun-kissed vineyards. Sounds like a good gig, doesn't it? And I'll bring that onto your screen now. And I'm going to have another cough. Excuse me for a moment. Ooh, that's better. You are spared that. And yeah, we need a quick look at Fogosh PT. Maybe we'll do that. Actually, we can get Nunu to have a look at ProSiv with us as well, because he put us onto that, and we can drill down a little bit. What's this, Richard Madeley? Summer job involves tasting wine in sun-kissed vineyard while being paid £200 a day. This from a newspaper in the part of the UK that I came from, the southwest. This is the Plymouth Live, which is, I think it comes from one of the Plymouth newspapers, which is in the southwest of the UK. And they are talking about the retailer Majestic, who are advertising for their first Vintern. Now, if you ask me, this reeks of a publicity stunt, but still, it might lead to a job for somebody who will be paid £52,000 a year to investigate if wine tastes better abroad. Well, just send me the check and I'll just say yes to that, saving everybody a lot of time and effort and carbon footprint, I think, and drunkenness to boot. So there's a potential candidate swilling their red. Who doesn't like to swill their red first? Probably not first thing in the morning. Wait until the sun is past the yard arm. And you're welcome, wine retailer Majestic, for getting this past us. And wine retailer Majestic is recruiting, it would appear, for a trainee taster with applications invited for the ultimate summer job. The store is advertising for its first ever vintern, who will be paid the equivalent of 52,000 a year to investigate if wine does taste better abroad. Come on, I think we know the answer to that. I mean, no disrespect to Devon wine producers in the southwest of the UK, but if you, well, maybe at the moment it's probably quite nice sitting in Devon drinking their white fizz, which they produce. But it can't compare, can it, to Southern Europe? I wouldn't have thought. The new vintern will be visiting the breathtaking Quinta de Boa Vista vineyard in Portugal on a 3-day placement, and can even take a friend along to hold them up, or maybe drive or escort them back to the taxi in the hotel. In addition to flights and accommodation, the successful applicant will receive £600 of the British Queen's pounds. We'll find out how many euros that is from Sarah at 9:30 or thereabouts. 600 for 3 days' work. Wow. The equivalent of 52,000 annual salary. Oh, okay. So they're scaling that up a bit for the purposes of the story. Applicants need no prior experience except a passion for wine and a valid passport, and will enjoy beautiful bottles from Majestic Spain and Portugal summer case. Well, that's a nice tip, isn't it? To know that Majestic do a Spain and Portugal summer case. I wonder if they do a Portugal only case. You'll enjoy that whilst you're on location if you get this job, and then retry the same bottles back at home for comparison. So it sounds like you have to be a UK resident for this. The Quinta de Boa Vista vineyard is run by family-owned business Casa Santos Lima and was distinguished as the best Portuguese producer by the prestigious Mundus Vindi 21 Wine Awards. Isn't that great? Vintern's working day will start with a guided tour of the vineyard by traditional horse and carriage. Oh, this is lovely. So even if you don't get this job, we want to know more about this, don't we? Is anyone searching for this at the moment? So it's the Quinta Boa Vista and the family-owned business Casa Santos Lima. What a lovely slice of Portuguese life we're talking about here. The Vintern's working day, very good, Vintern. The intern that came up with Vintern gets a promotion, in my view. The working day will start with a guided tour of the vineyard by traditional horse and carriage. Giddy up! And followed by visits to the wine cellar and barrel room to appreciate the full process from grape to bottle. Their next responsibility is to sample a series of delectable wine and premium olive oils, tasting wines from 5 regions around Portugal: the Algarve, Alentejo, Lisboa, Douro, and Vinho Verde. The working day concludes early in this role with the Vintern and their +1 tucking into a 3-course lunch paired with the vineyard's own tipples. Aspiring wine tasters can apply there. I'll put the link for this just in case that's still available. And you might want to go for it. If you're hearing this in the UK, a Majestic Wine Club provides members with 4 cases of wine throughout the year. This is the payoff for getting this article into the press, of course. Here we go. The byline, BUY, provides members with 4 cases. So I don't know if anyone here is a member of the Majestic Wine Club. What's it like? Others are available, and we hope to be talking to some of them here on the show. Majestic Wine Club provides members with 4 cases of wine throughout the year that have been selected by their expert buyer to reflect a new region or element of winemaking. If this summer position proves successful, then the brand will consider making further vinternships available during subsequent seasons. How lovely. The link to that is going into the comments now, if you want to take a look at that. Hold on a minute. What's going on here? Something happened. I am shocked. What, by that or something else? You turn your back for a moment, and something has erupted. Gouvier still ash falling and a bit of smoke, but no evacuation yet. So we need to go there and see what's going on. I missed Get Out and Grow. Didn't know the time was. It was excellent, Will. Subscribe. Make sure you don't miss it. You can see that on Facebook or YouTube. I'm shocked. Good day all from Australia with Julian Bradley there. How you doing, Julian? Lovely to see you again. Send the link. I want the job. There it is. It's in the chat for you, Amelie. I'm not sure you qualify. I'm not being rude there. No, Carl, they pay £600 for 3 days. That's it. But calculated up, it's a year's salary. Yes, and if you do it for 300 years, you're a billionaire or something like that, right? Okay, yes. Why do they do that? Why do they have to mislead people like that? Good news is that the feds executed warrant at Mango Mussolini's Meld Ubi. Come on. Trash palace. My goodness. And all the accomplices squealed. Okay. I think they're talking about. Well, are they going to? No. Should I go there? No, I'm not going to go there. You nearly got me to go there, Ubi. Okay, enough politics. Sorry, back to the wine discussion. Yes, well held, well handled, my friend. Thank you very much for that. He doesn't have his own theme tune, but he looks like a Bond baddie at the moment. It's Nuno Mendes with a white cat on his lap. Ding, 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 ding. You need to unmute. Has the cat muted you, Nuno? I think he might have done. Stood on the space bar and muted you. I think that's how it works.
Yes, is a she. She pulls here and.
What a beauty! What's her name? What's her name?
Nala, like the lion or the what is the name?
The Lion King. No,
the Lion. Yes, of the Lion King film.
Nala.
Yes.
Nala is Simba's playmate, right? Isn't that?
Well, sometimes she came here. Let me just put the sound. Okay, now I'm hearing you better.
It's great to see. So when we spoke earlier on, I think you've got a nice Castiglione lamp behind you. You've got a cherub there. And I was ribbing Nuno about the fact that his safe might be behind him, behind that picture, with all the cash, the pistol.
Yeah.
It's looking a lot like a Bond movie this morning, I have to say, with the white cat as well. But no, it is just a gilt-framed picture behind Nuno. They're giving him a nice aura this morning. How are you, my friend?
All good. Nothing behind, so...
Nothing behind.
The only thing safe here is me.
Yeah. Yes. Well said. It's as though we planned that. If you would like to find out more about Winsurance, you can do so. It's in the business directory at expatsportugal.com. And Nuno joins us to talk about insurance this morning. Any questions you've got for the man about insurance, we will go there, and we'll also check in on his mailbag, because I think there are themes that emerge, aren't there, Nuno, when you're dealing with people. And certainly expats, they have particular themes that they're researching, so we may talk about those. But I think we need to go to ProSiv first to find out what's going on, show people how this can be done, to find out what's going on. And I think it was you, wasn't it, who alerted me to ProSiv and how the emergency services come together to help in a national emergency, including the scouting movement.
Yes. Also, okay, usually the scouting movement is involved in many actions around the world. Yes. When a disaster happened, even though when the war in Ukraine started, the international scout movement went to the borders of Polonia to Ukraine to help the refugees and so on. So,
wow.
Yes, it's people usually associate the scouting movement to do camping, but there's nothing to be. Camping is only a small part, and not about the camping itself, but how to live in the nature and respect nature, and that's about that.
Well, that's a really good and important job to be doing right now in the world, I would say. And the scouting movement alive and well and thriving. I see every weekend in Portugal, and sometimes in the week. I guess at the moment in the summer holidays, some of the kids are away on camp, are they?
Yes, and every 4 years in Portugal, they organized a big huge camping, which is near Castelo Branco, I believe.
Okay.
And I think that around 20,000
really
20,000 kids and adults were there, and they came because this ends this Saturday. So it was 1 week with a lot of activities, a lot of themes to discuss, and for all ages.
And that's been this year, the big get together.
Yes, last week.
Is it called the Jamboree? Is that what you call it here in Portugal as well?
No, we call Akanak.
Akanak. Okay, what does that mean?
Akanak. It's the capital letters of the this event
Yes.
that
Okay.
they do, because other scout movement has another different names.
Yes.
But this CNE is the scouts associated to the church, and we call the Akanak.
Akanak. Okay, so a shout out to everybody who's been on the Akanak. I think the probably the scout leaders at Akanak after a week working with the kids, and obviously a great concern to them when they're out camping, especially in central Portugal at the moment, will have been the fires that have been going on. I would
Yes,
quite
yes,
a
that's
risk.
it.
Yeah.
It's something that we are always thinking about. What if something happen?
Yes.
So we work a lot on the preparation and in the prevention of what if,
Of course.
and luckily everything was good and according the plans.
Yes, very good. I'm so glad to hear it. Do they also call it a jamboree? No, I've just asked that, Matty, haven't I? Who also says, don't bring Nala to my Simba, which is probably good advice. And we will be talking about pet insurance this morning. And Sandra Costa, good morning. Hello, Sandra. Lovely to see you here. Fantastic. Okay, so on the screen, you will see ProSiv, which is something that Nuna brought to our attention. Thank you for doing that. And when you open up the front page there, you see what they want to bring your attention to. And there's a campaign, Safe Village, Safe People, I believe, there. What else have they got at the moment? Yes, the rural fires, of course, danger of rural fires and weather situation. And there we go, the campaign for Safe Village, Safe People. Then when you click on the Portugal map, you get to see what's going on around the country. Total events, which includes the ones that are ongoing, which sadly are quite a few at the moment, 157 across the country. Not unlike Fogos.pt, and you might be able to tell us which would be most useful and why here, Nuno. But 157 ongoing, involving over 1,000 firefighters, 391 vehicles, and 5 aircraft as well. So not a good picture this morning. That's probably the largest. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it would appear that. Thank you for your view on this, Ubi. Is that the Gouvier one? I wonder. But which would you say? What are the relative merits of using ProSiv as opposed to Fogos.pt, or should both people use both of them, Nuno?
I don't know. I don't know if this one, it seems to be a more institutional
Okay.
one, because it seems by the symbol that they used,
Yes.
they are the Proteção Civil.
Yes.
Proteção Civil is an association formed with different associations, and each enters of different level. For example, the Scout movement enters at the lowest level. So we help with the waters, with the milk to the fireman, and so on.
Yeah. Okay, well then that's it would appear that the hotspot, pardon the use of words there, but 13 incidents in Castelo Branco at the moment, which looks like it's dominating in terms of personnel. 660 on the case there, with 213 vehicles and 3 aircraft. So I'll put that into the comments as well, and we'll take a quick look at Fogos.pt so that we're on top of the situation this morning. I also noticed that for those of you in the north of Portugal, Safe Communities Portugal have started a northern Facebook group as well for Safe Communities Portugal. They do amazing work. Let's have a look at Fogos.pt now as well. I mean, this must be a big impact for the insurance world as well. How closely are the insurance world monitoring what's going on with wildfires in Portugal, Nuno?
Well, before answering you, I don't know how we yet have trees in Portugal, because this is every year the same.
Yes,
night.
indeed.
So,
Yeah.
But well, this is politic and bad management and so on.
Okay,
so regarding,
hold on a minute. No, before we move on, that is that a widely held view of people, that a lot of this is a political issue, and there is more that could be done that perhaps isn't being done for expats who don't really understand the situation?
Yes, no doubt. For
Okay.
me, no doubt about this, because Yes, we have more people. We have more machines. We have um, more liquids, inflammable liquids. This all of this is true, but 50 years ago or 70 years ago, we don't have this
No.
every year. So I believe that is bad planning.
Something's not quite right. Okay, so this is the big blaze of the moment then in Castelo Branco district, 593 according to Fogos.pt personnel there, 195 vehicles and 2 aircraft in the sky. Again, I will put this into the chat so that you've got it for anyone who hasn't heard this message before. Very important that you know what to do, be alert, be prepared and stay safe. Those are 2 very good resources. So thanks for bringing that to our attention, Nuno. Yeah, so what happens in the insurance world? It must be a big issue with wildfires and that sort of protection. And each year that goes past with the problems that you're talking about there and the way that you're talking about them, that must impact premiums, presumably.
Yes, but until now, the insurers differentiate something, the rate, regarding the houses that are in the middle of the woods, comparing to the others that are more on a urban location.
Yeah.
But it isn't a huge difference of
Okay.
premium, insurance premium.
Right.
It isn't. What insurers don't like to insure at all is wood houses, and they are common on United States. But
Yes.
here, the insurers, they don't like to insure wood houses at all.
Right. Okay. Which is weird in a way, because in many countries that do have wildfires, timber frame buildings are not uncommon, are they? I mean, in California, for example, in Australia, the timber frame buildings is a very popular way of building, and there are other sort of approaches to fire management, despite having a timber frame building. It's not something I know a lot about, but I've heard this criticism that perhaps the insurance companies here are a little bit old fashioned in their view of when it comes to that. Yeah.
We have a very short offer to that, and when I say very short offer, maybe 1 or 2 insurers, and depending of many factors.
Wow.
So it's a problem to insure their houses. Yes.
Okay. All right. Deagle thinks it's global warming has something to do with it, which it may well have. But I suppose you were talking about 70 years ago. You didn't have the same phenomenon, but there were still very hot summers then, weren't there?
Yeah, that's true. But one factor that I believe that helped maintaining the woods clean was that 70 years ago we have many people living on rural areas, and they live from the land, not from tourism, for example. So they clean the woods. Also, we had they are not policemen, but a kind of rural police guys that they live in the woods, in the top of the mountains and so on. So they control all the area, the rural area. And nowadays we don't have any people.
That's very interesting. Like a ranger, I suppose.
Yes. I'm trying to remember the name, but Guarda Florestal.
Ah, yes.
Florist guard.
You do see their vehicles still, don't you? There are Florestal vehicles, but the nature of the job has changed by the sound of it.
Yes, and if you drive for the country on more on the hills or the mountains in Portugal, you can see like houses made of stone, and those houses are habitated by those guardas florestais.
Yes.
So they live there all the year. It's their house. It's not their office. It's their house. So they live there.
What an amazing!
They take care. Yes, because it's a question of taking care, and so because they live there, they take care of the woods and the mountains and so on.
Yes, that sounds like an amazing job. And actually, I think a lot of expats, immigrants, a certain kind, would say, Yes, I'll have that job. If give me a visa and I'll live in the woods. I mean, that's a deal, isn't it? Combinado.
I think that there are no such job anymore because all the houses, you can see that no one lived there for many, many years. Some of them, you only can see the walls, the outside walls,
I have seen those. I have
because
thought
everything
about.
else collapsed. So,
I'm not the only one who thinks a lick of paint and that'd be a great summer place. I think a lot of people walk past there and think maybe that there are just 20 relatives who own that and will never be able to get it get it bought. But maybe it's the Guarda Florestal there. What an amazing insight. Thank you, Adigal, agreeing with me. What a very interesting thing to discover this morning. Thanks to you, Nuno. Moaz is in. How was your birthday, Moaz? Como estás, Nuno? Falo muito pouco português, mas estou melhorando a cada dia. So he's learning a little bit of Portuguese every day, right? And it's coming
yeah,
on.
yeah, that's right. That's right. It's
Able to
going better and better.
do you know this is a thing? We could bring it back, couldn't we? Let's have a campaign to bring back the Guarda Florestal. They're able to check on hikers in the forest, make sure no barbecues are left or rubbish or anything like that. Check on the animals. What a lovely job! And it is you're right. It's a product of urbanization. 60% of the people in Portugal now live in the two big cities and on the marginal, don't they? Leaving the interior quite deserted.
That's true. That's true. But let me say that it's only a problem of the barbecues. Is mainly problem of the lack of knowledge, because if we left a bottle, crystal or plastic bottle, bottle with water inside in the woods, and if somehow we had so bad luck that the sun hits the bottle on a certain angle, it's everything that we need to have a fire. So it's not only a problem of the barbecue, is that people are doing things that they aren't aware how dangerous that could be. Because a fire in the summertime, with everything so dry, it's
a magnifying glass, isn't it?
Yes. Instantly.
Yeah. Well, as you know, and this is the great thing. I mean, even though we've lost the Guarda Florestal, we've still got the scouting movement, and kids can grow up learning things like you've just mentioned there, and how to do bushcraft, how to look after the land appropriately. So keep up the good work with that, Nuno. And also says Ubi, and also revenuers. If you have a still in the barn. I don't know. Okay, he wants to brew some alcohol up there, some aguardente. I mean, that would be an amazing lifestyle, wouldn't it? You could eat javali for dinner with your own homebrewed aguardente, and eat your own fresh vegetables in the fresh air and drink from a mountain stream. I don't know the Portuguese term, but there's definitely a vibe up this way at 3,000 elevation and higher. It is the land of, you know, Nazaré, Ubi. There's an amazing watchtower, which presumably was part of the Guarda Florestal. There's a little tower up there where presumably the guards would look out across the landscape to see if there are any fires as well, and they would live up there. And we drive past it and we think, how on earth did they build that up there? And some of those are made of wood, so it's not all bad building out of wood, I think. But I guess they're seeing what's coming their way from a long way off up there. Jean's in as well this morning. Hola, bon dia de New Jersey this morning. Estou atrasado para a festa. Yeah, very good, excellent. And drones could easily do the forest protection jobs. You got this. Yeah, but why? Why have the flying robots when it could be an amazing job for human beings? Is James here? James is not here. James has got a very good reason not to be here. You'll notice there are two big shaped holes, and I'm not saying they're big guys in that sense. I'm saying they're big personalities. James has gone to meet somebody special at the airport from our community, and I think pictures will follow. And T-Duck's not feeling brilliant, maybe listening, but not taking part. So lots of love to you, T-Duck. Continue your recovery. And James is at the airport. Well spotted, Moaz. I was late today. No, he's out on official business, and pictures will follow. Okay, sorry. Insurance. That's why you're here. What's been coming in? Have you had some questions about pet insurance, I think, Nuno?
Yes. Because not only from expats, also Portuguese people, pets are family nowadays.
Yes.
So we are just taking care from our pets as we take care of any member of our family.
Yep.
So mainly people ask for the liability cover and the health insurance was which is similar somehow. The fundamentals, the basis is the same as the human health insurance. So we are facing a demand, the rising of the demand for pet insurance, no doubt about that. There are some breeds of dogs that we must know about what is mandatory and what is not. We cannot walking a dog of one of those breeds without, I don't know is the name, what here we call the enzyme. They cover the mouth so they
muzzle. A muzzle.
they cannot bite
a muzzle.
a muzzle.
Yeah.
So it's mandatory when we walk a dog, like for one of those breeds, use it. And always with the leash. We can leave the leash, the dog without the leash, even though he's using the
muzzle.
The muzzle.
Yeah. What's the Portuguese word so we know that as well?
Enzyme.
Enzyme. It sounds like enzyme, doesn't it? Enzyme. Okay. Yeah.
Enzyme. So this is something that not so often, but sometimes I can see dogs like those for those breeds alone in the street, and I'm sure that you living in Portugal for some years till now, you every year heard something in the news that one dog like those bite someone, usually children, and so take care of if you have one of those dogs, take care how you walk the dog and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So where can we find out about what the breeds are that need that special attention?
Well, it's easy, but I can send you the link.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll stick that in the forum. Okay, yeah, we'll get that in the forum for everybody. Yeah, okay. So insurance for pets then. What are we insuring against when it comes to pet insurance?
Okay, so first, the offer in the Portuguese market for pet insurance is short. There are mainly 4 insurers that provide health insurance for dogs and cats. The liability insurance is provided for mainly all the insurers, and usually we subscribe optional cover of the property insurance that gives cover to the liability, the pet's liability. It's more cheaper only because of that, nothing more. But regarding the pet insurance, mainly it works at 3 levels: prevention, treatment, and well-being. Once again, a little bit like the health insurance for humans. So also pre-existing or conditional health condition, pre-existing or congenital health conditions are excluded. So we have some exclusions that are similar. We have waiting periods and so on. So
yes, okay. So the same sort of rules apply. Okay, for all the families, including the pets.
Yes. You can cover checkup, vaccines, surgeries. So it's not a copy paste. It cannot be from the health insurance for humans, but it has some similarity.
Okay, and can you give us a rough idea of cost? What sort of financial liability we're talking about for a cat or a dog?
Oh, the liability. If we have the liability insurance through the property insurance, so as a optional cover, maybe 20 or 25 euros.
For
If
the
you
year.
buy it, yes, a year,
All
yearly.
right.
If you
Excellent.
buy it through autonomous insurance, maybe 50.
Okay.
So
All right. And then the health side of things.
yeah, the health it depends of the age of the dog, if it's a she or a he.
Oh, really?
So other factors, yes.
Just like humans. Okay. All right. All right. But roughly speaking, what in for the family budget, if you've got a fairly healthy male dog, for example, who's quite young, fit, and able.
Okay, so between 150 and 250 euros, depending
Yeah.
on the coverages and the limits. So usually behind within those two numbers is
Okay. And
how it
that's going
costs.
to be covering your vet emergencies and those sorts of things.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mostly. There are exclusions and conditions apply, which you should check out with Nuno. Have a deeper conversation with Nuno. You can find Winsurance, of course, if you don't know where they are. Oh, here comes an orange. Not working hand. That special effect is. There's a backstory to this. Please, I hope she's not going to try to shoot this off the top of my head. But thank you for the great big Algarvian orange. Have I got orange juice as well? Oh, bless you. We're going to do a taste test, Nuno. At the end of
Sometimes,
go on.
sometimes it looks like Family Adams.
It does look like Family Adams. But I don't know how often Singh used to bring a glass of orange juice to the rest of the Adams family. Oh, sorry, I've got a little head massage here. Thank you, Thing. That will be all.
Hi, Luisa.
Drink your coffee. Okay. Thank you for that. What were we saying? What were we saying there? I will explain about the backstory to the oranges in just a moment. But yeah, thank you for that, for those rough guides to price. Yes, get the fine detail with Nuno, obviously, with the actual cost according to your particular pooch or pet in your pooches and pussies. Get the exact figure by having a chat with Nuno and team at Winsurance. Anything else to say about pets then, Nuno? While we're on the subject, we seem to have gone there.
About
We've got
pets, not much. Only that insurers they cover dogs and cats. Those are the only kind of pets that they insure.
well, that is
No
a very
reptiles or strange things. Only
but,
dogs
so,
and
but you insure all sorts of things. Generally speaking, then the insurance world only wants to do the pooch and pussy cover policies. But so if somebody did want to insure their reptile or whatever it is, their Jurassic dinosaur that they're hiding in the cellar, can you organise special? No, you probably couldn't get a dinosaur insured, but it's a little. They're a bit dangerous, aren't they? But could you arrange for other species or not?
sorry, Carl, but at all, if I was an insurer, I would insure dinosaurs because there are no dinosaurs. There are no names.
Yes, okay. We found a new market. We're going to be rich. Dinosaur insurance. Yes, brilliant. Remember where you heard it first.
But just answering to your question, no one asked me about that ever.
Not dinosaurs. You're talking
So
about
I
other
don't.
species.
No. The others, reptiles and so on.
I think that you will get some new questions with that. Expats are going to be bringing strange pets and habits with them from abroad. So stand by for that for the first inquiry from dinosaurs to drones. Oh, go on.
Be aware that some kind of animals
Yes.
are we just cannot have them with us. They are considered exotic species and protected species.
Okay.
So I know that many people have them, but it's against the law. So
is it? So when you go to Agrologia and there's a tarantula in there and a chameleon and a big old boa constrictor or whatever, you're not meant to be keeping those at home.
No, a tarantula. The shops, pet shops, sell tarantulas. So if a species is allowed to have in home as a pet, no problem. But the protected species, usually the exotic ones, we cannot have them.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm sure that's searchable. If somebody does look that up, and do give us the link to share on the screen. Okay, so drones could be used because they're more efficient. Yes, but that's, we have to take a holistic view. If we get drones replacing all the humans, what sort of world is that to live in? Anyway, he's persisting with this drone idea. From dinosaurs to drones, I have a question regarding insurance for a drone business in Portugal, but he will reach out to you about that separately. Deagle, few late joiners, few absent. Don't worry, just a normal, organised, calm nonsense. Well, none taken. That we all love. Don't forget to hit the like button. Not sure what to make of that. Ensema is the muzzle. Should you need to buy one, if you found out this morning, that's what you need for your pet or your children, for that matter. Only kidding. Which companies have the? I don't know what that is. Very irresponsible dog owners in Belfast. I avoid parks because too many dogs off the lead. I was bitten once on the leg by an uncontrolled dog, so I'm nervous. And he's a 6'2" fella at 15 stone 7 pounds. Yes, it's a horrible memory to have that. What an intelligent, charming, and generous fellow. This is a good review. Nuno is. Darn, does that mean I can't get my Pablo Escobar hippos into the country? It does mean that. I saw no hippos. Thank you, Pete, on that ranch of yours. I saw quite a few unleashed dogs in Tavira, but most were very well behaved and walked right with their people. A lot of Portuguese dogs go and walk themselves. Around the corner from me, we have a posh version of my dogs. My two strays or rescue dogs are Jimmy and Peggy. And Jimmy is like a sort of lurcher Labrador cross, and Peggy's a little terrier. And there's a posh version of them both, a golden retriever and a proper Jack Russell. And I saw them walking themselves the other night. They almost stopped across the road, have a quick look. Posh and intelligent dogs, and they do walk themselves. Here we finally then, before we go to Sarah. Sorry, Sarah, we're late for you. What do you call a dinosaur that needs insurance? Oh dear, I should have played the dad joke warning for this. Will you insure us? That's quite good, actually, isn't it?
No, Stephen.
Hello, Stephen. You get one of those, and we welcome on to the...
No dinosaurs here in the community.
Thank you very much. You'll give the expats a bad name. But that's my... Just before we go to Sarah, that is my other dad joke. What do you call two Portuguese dinosaurs that look the same, Nuno? Igualodons. Igual. Don't be like that. Bring it on the screen. Sarah, that joke is criminal, Stephen. Good morning to you, Sarah Davey.
Good morning. Let me just put a light on. I feel like
what's going on there? It's supposed to be hot and bright in Britain at the moment. Are you?
The thing is, it's quite hot and quite sunny, so I've had to put the blind down a little bit. Otherwise, it's just sort of you can't see me. But that's a good problem to have.
Certainly not. It's great to have you here. It's an exciting time in currency, isn't it? And I think we're going to keep Nuno with us here to talk about this, because there might be some overlap here this evening. But you know each other. I don't need to introduce you, do I? You've met before, you two?
Yes, we have. When I was in Portugal, Nuno and his wife, lovely, really nice, were very friendly and showed me around, which was lovely.
Yes, and you have some happy memories, I think, of Lisbon and other parts of Portugal. What were the highlights of your? Have we spoken to you since you were here?
Oh, I'm not sure. We went to Óbidos?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Drinking the ginger liqueur there, of course. You have to do that at Óbidos, yes.
With James.
With James as well. Yes, indeed. James is at the airport. He can't be with us this morning. I know he would give both of you a stunning testimonial, but he's meeting another gumper at the airport, so we'll have pictures of that in due course. Well, I think safe to say you've had a lovely time. You did have a lovely time when you visited, Sarah, and you will be coming back to see us, I hope, at some point.
Yes, and then obviously we came up to meet you as well for the Wednesday meetup, which was lovely.
Excellent. Okay, so this world of currency, foreign exchange at the moment, what is going on? Nuno, do you want to stick around for this? Because it's exciting times.
Mm-hmm.
Not so great for the euro, it has to be said. Better for the pound and the dollar, right?
The graphs actually that I showed you, I've sent you across for sterling euro, US dollar euro, Canadian dollar euro, and Australian dollar euro, just to show that we do help customers worldwide that are moving to Portugal. overall, it's actually a pretty good time to be buying euros.
Oh,
I think it's
buying
only-
them. Yeah, not
Yeah.
for selling them. Though.
Yeah, for buying them. I
Yes.
think the only currency, the sterling euro, so if you're in the UK, we have taken a little bit of a dip just on the back of last week, really, the Bank of England. So we had a rate hike last Thursday. They raised interest rates by 50 basis points as expected. To 1.75%, but it's the largest single rate hike since 1995. What's interesting is that previously what used to happen is we'd have the announcements, and then a little bit later, about a month later or a few weeks later, we'd have the minutes of the meeting. But now what happens is we have the announcement and then there's comments on the back of it. So what would have ordinarily been positive for the pound, the 50 basis points increase as expected, and the fact that it was 8 out of 9 of the members voted for it, it was actually the comments afterwards that unfortunately were a bit negative for the pound. Bit of a sort of, I suppose, doom and gloom really assessment of the UK economy. But I mean, it's really what we've been saying for really the last few weeks, the last times that we've been on the show, is that we are struggling to curb inflation. That's their number one priority, but obviously that trying to control inflation comes at the expense of growth. We have the cost of living crisis, the energy prices. I don't know what it's like there, but they're going up. People are worried about that. And also now they're expecting the UK economy to contract in the final quarter of 2022 and each quarter throughout 2023. So it's a little bit worse than we initially expected, which is why we saw that really come off last week for sterling euro. But on the positive, if you look back historically, sort of if you can bring the sterling euro graph that I've got there, so if we look back since really sort of 2017, it's actually we're still at quite good levels for sterling euro. So yes, it's dropped off to where we saw sort of highs earlier in the year, but overall, if you are buying your euros, it is still quite good times if you look back historically. So it's not all doom and gloom, but definitely weighing on the pound is obviously recession and these sort of energy prices.
It's as though they can't not say the word anymore, isn't it? Okay, it is a recession. People have just been skirting around that, haven't they? And
it just means two consecutive quarters of negative growth, which will be a recession.
Double dipping. No one likes a double dip, whether it's Tara Masalata, hummus, or the world economy. No one likes a double dip, do they?
No one likes I like that.
You can use that if you like. Okay, and there we're looking at the dollar euro. Nunes, is this of interest to you? Because I'm wondering, do you want to be going into this level of details?
Yes,
as an insurance guy? This has relevance.
Yes, I like this matter because it's something that I studied at university.
What?
And yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So also the market share. So I know that people that need to buy property in Portugal or whatever, they just need to buy at the best rate daily. Yeah. But for everyone that are investing, my opinion, Sarah, you are the one who bought this. Is my opinion. Is that if if I'm an investor and I'm looking each day for the quotes, a heart attack sure will came.
But you can get insurance. You can get insurance for that.
An investor must have a more long-term approach, rather than the common guy that just need to buy goods, so need to change. But this is my opinion. You are the one to know about
these are opinions. This is not financial advice to anybody. We'll come back to that chart in just a moment, Sarah, because I think you had an interesting question we'll come back to as well about dinosaurs. But anyway, bon dia from Pam, bon dia Trush from Antonio F. Welcome to you both. Sarah, you must be doing well if you can afford to put the light on in the UK.
Yeah. No,
Well
it's
done.
only for like half an hour while I'm on the show, and then that's it.
And then it's got to go off after that, is it? Yes. Well, thank you for sharing your exuberant spending patterns and lifestyle with us this morning. Yeah, you feel free to turn it off if you need to.
Well, actually, we've just had this debate because the weather's supposed to get really hot again this week.
Yeah.
So my partner's bought a fan, but I've told him we can't put it on because it'd be too expensive.
I don't know why I'm laughing. It's kind of, you got to laugh, otherwise you cry with these things. Yes. So yeah, it's like, you know, the food or fuel. This is the situation some people are in. I guess there's another one that goes with fan, but we'll let the community sum up that conundrum for you in a neat little slogan. With interest rates, says Deagle, and expected to rise next month, the pound could be 125 by mid-September. Good time to buy. I love the fact that the GBP, a Great British Pound, went to 120 when Boris left. Is anyone better? As anyone is better, and went down to 118 with the interest rate hikes, analysts trust. I also met Sarah at the San Martino de Porto meetup together with Nuno, his wife, and James. Pictures have been made. And hello, Sarah, from Matty this morning. Fantastic. So yeah, back to that chart then. And we're looking now at the US dollar euro combination. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if you look at sort of on a day or a month or a short term, you know, there is fluctuations, but it's just really to remind people that if you're looking back over the last few years, actually, even for I use the same time frame just to make it easier for the different currencies, but actually selling US dollars and buying euros, it is we're going back to 2002 really. Yeah. These sort of levels. So overall, it is still very good times to be buying. And even likewise for Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, again, still good times to really be buying. I think, again, the US is still sort of similar to the UK in as far as, you know, they're struggling to curb inflation as well. But also, that what could weaken the US dollar is them going into recession in Q4, or even the Eurozone going into recession at the same time. We're talking really about global recession, actually. Yes. And the other thing really is any change to the war between Russia and the Ukraine. Yes. I mean, that's why we've seen a little bit of euro weakness recently, is Russia turning off the gas supply to various countries in Europe, for example, Germany. And obviously, Germany is one of the biggest countries in the Eurozone, and they do a lot of manufacturing. A lot of exports come from Germany. So really the sort of knock-on effect of that into their economy. But really, yeah, any ceasefire, because that's why we've seen a lot of US dollar strength, is because in uncertain times, people go into the US dollar, what we call a safe haven currency. So I think that's where we've seen a lot of gains when there's uncertainty with pandemic and the war. So if we see a ceasefire, that would be really positive, and people might pull out of the US dollar as well.
Okay, so a quick look at the other charts then. You mentioned the Canadian dollar. That's showing a similar rise, isn't it, really, to the American?
Yeah, exactly. And also Australian dollar. So I think that's the other thing to sort of bear in mind. You can get a little bit bogged down with what's happening very recently in day to day, but I think that's what it puts it more in perspective, that actually looking back, we're still at very good levels, and buying your euros at these sort of levels is still very good. You're still, as I said, positive. I mean, Nuno's right. You know, we've had customers that back in sort of before 2008, you know, were buying euros, buying properties at around, I don't know, 140, 150. And now they're selling their properties. And while actually, yes, the property prices have perhaps gone up, not as much as the gain that they've made on the foreign exchange. But again, you're talking, it's taking years, and that's somebody who's doing it purely for investment. Here. You're moving country, it's around a different life, a new life, and you know, you're moving savings, you're paying for a visa, you're buying a car, you're buying a property. It's a different requirement, really. And a lot of what we do is, yes, what's the rate you're going to get on the day against, say, your bank or another provider or Wise? Yes, we can offer a better rate of exchange and save you money. But a lot of what we do is really around the timing. And that's really to sort of highlight that with some of the things that we talk about on the show. It's really underestimated, but often that's where we can save customers more money. is helping them. You know, this is our day job. We're looking at, the dealers are looking at this information all day, constantly, what data's coming out, and that's not just in the UK, in the Eurozone, in the US, across the world. We're looking at trends historically. We're looking at a lot of information. No one's got a crystal ball, but we help to try and manage you know, the exchange rates for people and their requirements. That's why it's really nice for us to get to know our customers. We find out, you know, what's your situation, what's your time frame, what money have you got available. All of that can help us put a good strategy together to help manage those fluctuations.
Thank you, Sarah. Before we move away from the house buying, you have some great illustrations about how much money people can save or make, whichever way you look at it, by taking advantage of a particular interest rate. Have you got those to hand?
I think the last one that I did was actually just before we lost a little bit on sterling euro, but we'd actually, the week before, we had gains. I think it was around 1 or 2%, and basically I think it was on a 250,000 euro property. The difference in about a day or 2 days was about £4,500.
Well, that's a few coffees and natas, isn't it? That's
exactly.
That's worth doing. Okay, all right. So
and that is just on rate movement. So
yes. Okay.
That's what's worthwhile thinking about.
Yeah, and then people are thinking to themselves, 4,000. I could save myself 4,000. How do I do this? So the one possibility, one way of doing that is to create a relationship with Spartan and learn alongside your representative at Spartan when it might be the right time to take advantage of something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing as well is that when you start this journey, you'll be basing on one rate. So that's what's worthwhile bearing in mind, that now, what's the rate now compared to that rate? And if that's better, then you are winning, basically. There's plenty of different options. You might think, well, I'm not ready. We'll monitor the rate for you and just keep you updated. You might sat there thinking, great, I'd like to take advantage of the rate, but I don't have a bank account open in Portugal. That's not a problem. We can buy your euros in advance and we can hold them on account for you. And we do that free of charge. I know that some others, like Wise, for example, do charge a percentage on amounts over 15,000 euros, whereas it's free of charge for you to hold that money on account with us. The other option, which is quite good for property purchases, and if you don't have all the money available, is that we can fix the rate with a 10% deposit. So you put down 10%, it's not a cost or a charge, it's fixed into the rate. And then when you need the money, that's when you pay the 90%, and that's when we transfer the 100% out. So you're locked into that rate. So if the rate does move in your favor, you are locked into that rate. But the benefit is you're either locking into a good rate, or you're locking into a rate and it's not costing you anymore. So that's what you need to remind yourself as well. Often we speak to people who have a tight budget, and you know, when you're given a price in euros for a property, that's valid from today or that moment, but in say 6 weeks, 12 weeks time, when you on completion, the rate could be completely different. Now that property could cost you 5, 10, 20,000 euros more, depending on the exchange rate. Now, yes, it could cost you less, which that would be the best scenario. But what happens if it did cost you more? We've had some customers, I mentioned it before, we had a customer who bought in Greece who really wanted a property, but the seller put up the price, so it was really the top of his budget, and he had no choice but to fix the rate because he couldn't afford for it to be more expensive. He didn't have any more available funds. And he just couldn't risk that, so he fixed the rate. So again, that's where it comes down to your position, as in, if you've got more money available, then you have a flexibility of maybe seeing what happens with the rate. But if you don't, and it's a tight budget and you want to control those costs, then we've got a solution for you.
Excellent. Good to know. So, Nuna, you've probably got things to do, but there are a couple of questions that I'd like your opinion, both of you, given what Nuna's told us about what he studied at university. This, by the way, is not financial advice. These are opinions that will be shared now in response to this question. And we'll come back to KRWs. Thank you, Amelie, for that. We'll come back to KRWs in a little while. We've got a dinosaur and a dollar question. Dollar question first. Since the dollar is very strong, it sounds this is the best time to buy a house in Portugal if you're an American. What would you say to that? Nuna, let's go to Nuna first.
To buy a house in Portugal, What I no, the truth is that the property are rising prices each day.
Yes.
So if you delay or postpone your decision, maybe it's not a problem of the tax rate of currencies, but
Yes.
just that the market went up, and
That's an
so
interesting insight.
you need to pay more for the property. And this is happening across Portugal, not only in the main cities or in Algarve,
Yes.
but in every locations.
It's a tide that everybody is rising with, and that's great for Portugal, I think, as well, and for individuals who are being able to realise their assets at a higher rate. But there, it's all swings and roundabouts. Of course, there are difficult sides to that for individuals as well. So in some ways, crack on with it is the advice or the suggestion there, I think, from Nunu, and specifically on the exchange. Then, Sarah, what would you say to Moaz's question?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's all sort of guidance. You have to make your own decision. But as you said, looking back historically, we are at very good levels for buying your euros if you're selling US dollars. So if you did buy now, it is a very good rate. Will it go up? As I said, no one's got that crystal ball. But if you did buy now, you are buying into a very good rate if you look historically.
Yes.
And what Nunu said, as I said, it's not advice. But when I was there in Portugal, interestingly, there was a lot of people talking about that the demand for property in Portugal is high, but the supply is low. There's not as many properties for the number of people that want it. And interestingly, when we met on the Wednesday meetup group, this was actually for a couple that wanted to rent. Do you remember that couple that were there? And he was talking about he'd found somewhere and he was deliberating whether to rent, and someone was like, just take it, because it's really hard to find somewhere that's...
Are you crazy? You found somewhere. Yes. It does get to that.
I don't know, but that's what I saw. But as I said, it probably depends where you're buying and what type of property you're buying and what you're looking for. But I suppose that's the other thing as well, is that, we're talking about the exchange rates, but sometimes other factors might make it a good time to be buying as well. The other thing that we talk about is actually thinking about moving your money before you leave your home country.
Yes.
Now, there's a number of reasons to think about it. One is because you might find it's fine moving money, even smaller amounts when you're there, but when actually you move to Portugal, it can become a little bit more difficult. We've seen people have to fly back. So in that meantime, the rates moved, or obviously it's costing them more money to fly back. We've seen it where the bank wants you to get an international card reader. Again, depends on the bank. We've had customers that have given family friends or family members power of attorney. Again, whether you trust your family with that, that's up to you. So there's lots of things that people are doing and looking into before you go, just to make it easier. So some people have moved money before they've left because it's actually easier for them. And it could actually be more expensive when they're there. But as I said, it's not necessarily because they haven't thought about the exchange rate. It's become more complicated physically to do it. If your online banking might have a limit as well. So if you are buying property, you could be finding you're doing an online transfer for the next 2 weeks. So again, it's just thinking about these sort of the practicality in the process, which is a lot of what we do as well. We speak to bank tellers, lawyers on behalf of customers. A lot of the other stuff we're doing is kind of behind the scenes to help our customers. We check the beneficiary account details, because what happens with sort of just a purely online company is you can put a bank account detail in, and as long as it's a valid number, it will go. Even if it's not
surprise. What a lovely surprise for somebody else.
Exactly. Even if it's not maybe the account you need to be sending it to. So with us, we check the beneficiary account details and just make sure that it's going to the right person as well.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Okay, Nuno, a final question for you on an insurance level. Sarah was asking, again, behind the scenes here, what about the Natural History Museum? Would you insure dinosaur bones in a collection of precious artifacts, historical artifacts? Now, first part of this question is, what is the Natural History Museum? There is one in Lisbon, presumably, where there are great big dinosaur collections, or are there not?
I don't know. I truly don't know.
Then I'm
I
going
know
to
that
take you to Lorena. I'll take you to Lorena instead, where I know there are definitely dinosaurs.
Lorena. Yes, I know. They have a park actually, and I was there
It's very good.
maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
That's right.
Um,
I'm thinking of
but
taking my in-laws there, but it could they might not get home if I do that. But anyway, I hope they didn't hear that. So they ring you up. And they say to you, "No, we've got this unique dinosaur fossil that was found here, a skeleton. Will you insure it for us?"
if we are talking about a private collection
Yes.
or not a collection, but if we can evaluate give a value,
Yeah.
a trust value to the bone itself, yes,
Yes.
we can insure
There you go.
because it could be treated as jewelry. Okay.
Okay, collectibles.
Example. Yes,
Yes.
because of its value, it's expensive. So it's not gold, but the one who have it actually can get a lot of money for that piece, no matter if
Yes.
it's made of gold or another
Or
another thing.
dinosaur bone. And
Yes,
apparently,
it depends. It
you,
depends.
Kent, who is known to you in the man cave, recently sold a whole T-Rex skeleton. Did that fund his whole lifestyle in the Portugal, I wonder? Is this the reason you're building a new house just to make room for that? Well, you don't have to answer that. That's your business. But thank you, Sarah. I think you're surprised possibly by that answer. Nuna can insure just about anything and help you out with all your insurance business. Nuna, thank you so much. I've got one more question for Sarah before you go. But Nuna, have a great day.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Thanks
See
again.
you again soon. Fantastic. There he is. I'm sure that was a safe behind him, aren't you, Sarah? You know
I'm
that.
sure.
Did you
I'm
see that
sure.
gold frame? I think that was the Bond safe behind him. Great to have you here this morning. We did have a question in from Amelie, if I can find that. KRW, can you help with it? I think was the question. Do you know what that is? Can you help with the the Korean currency? I think.
Korean. I'd have to double check on that.
Okay.
I know that there is a few sort of, I suppose, exotic currencies that we do deal with. I've had a customer that's been moving money from Peru recently. So let me double check and I'll come back to you.
That's for you, Amelie. If you want me to connect you with Sarah, just drop me a line, carl@expatsportugal.com, and I will do that gladly for you, Amelie. One other kind of howler, really, is sometimes I hear Americans are watching the show and thinking, what a shame that this company is based in the United Kingdom, .co.uk. I can't use them. I'm American. Wrong! So people do
Yeah.
think that, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, yes, we are a UK-based company, but we deal with clients that are worldwide. It isn't a problem. And also, people might not be aware, but there's not many companies can deal with American customers. I suppose unless you've got a company that's based in America, but there's not really as many that offer this service except your bank, is that you've got to have licenses in each individual state to be able to deal with Americans from all over America, which we have. So we're able to do that. So that's the first thing from a regulation perspective. We can deal with American customers. We operate longer hours. So yes, there is a time difference, but as many are aware, our team will speak to you whenever you need to be spoken to. You can arrange calls with them. We also take calls by WhatsApp as well. We've done WhatsApp videos with our customers. We do Zoom. So we're quite flexible when it comes to how you can contact us, which I know from working from other companies, they're a little bit rigid in that fashion, which doesn't make it easy for you to contact them. But at least there's always someone you can speak to. So if you've got any questions, no matter how small it is, don't worry. We're here to help, and we can listen and help you with that process.
Superb. Excellent stuff. Okay. Thank you so much for being here this morning. How are you preparing for the ongoing UK heat wave over there?
Well, there's a fan coming, although, as I said, I'm worried now about my electricity bill, although I've been told it doesn't use a lot of electricity, so we shall wait and see.
Who knew? Who would have realized that we would be concerned about such things? It's bizarre, isn't it? Really is incredible. Well, have a lovely time. I hope you managed to have a barbecue in a traditional British way with some nice charred sausages, cooked, well cooked on the outside, a little bit
Yeah.
Black on the outside, pink on the inside. And thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again soon. We'll see you on the webinar on a Thursday. For those people who might prefer to talk with you and ask questions later on in the day, which is certainly be more suitable for our American friends here, Sarah joins us for the occasional webinar, Portugal calling webinar at 7:30 Portugal time, which is easier for some people. Have a great day, and love to everybody at the Spartan FX office.
Do you want to put the link to the directory? People can contact us. There's a telephone number. As I said, there's an email address.
Well, look at that. I've got even better. The free account, spartanfx.co.uk, right?
Yep, that's right. But do get in touch with us. As I said, Expats Portugal at Spartan FX is an email address that you can use. Yep. Get in touch with us if you've got any questions, or as I said, we can arrange calls to fit your time zone as well.
Superb. All right, all the best to the gang over there, and we'll see you soon.
No problem. Speak soon. Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Everybody should have their own theme tune here, shouldn't they? Not just Gilda on a Monday. There goes Sarah, contemplating whether to have the light on or the fan on over there in Britain right now. I trust, what's this? I trust a fin firm. I trust a UK financial firm over a US every day of the week, although you can find plenty of crimes if you look close enough. Yes, follow the money, honey, right? And what was that selection, that musical selection suggestion you made earlier on? Fun song of the day, Ubi. It's Money That Matters. Your money for nothing and your chicks for free. I think Mark Knopfler sang that, didn't he? Randy Newman has something to do with the song also too. Thank you, Ubi, for that. Al Gibraltar, good shout. Al Gibraltar Festival, I think, is going to be happening this weekend. Is that right, Pam? The Medieval Festival in Al Gibraltar this weekend. Always worth a visit. Antonio F. wants to get up there as well. Ubi, Moaz, in my humble opinion, it's always a good time to buy a house in Portugal if the price is right. Thank you very much, everybody. Jean, you sent a picture in as well. Good night from, I've got to get this in. Miss Ms. Catnipper is here. Good night from California. Hello. Ms. Catnipper, nice to have you here. No difference, I know that, but also most excellent. Mark Knopfler fan, Ubi there by the sound of it. At the end of the day, though, many are multinationals who are all in bed with each other to pick your pockets. Oh, I think we need an upbeat note to end on, don't we? We don't want that. But thank you for saying it nonetheless, Ubi. We're going to show a picture of a dog and all go, oh, this is from Jean. Where are we looking here? There's the Irish setter, the Brittany Spaniel, the German Shepherd, and the Portuguese beggar. This guy has obviously worked this neighborhood before. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Thank you very much, Jean. And you will see, yes, dogs walking themselves and making their own living, as this fella's doing here. It looks like it could be Jimmy Choo's dad or granddad there. Thank you very much, Jean, for that picture to end the show today. Let's have a look at what's going on for the rest of the week. On our webinar on Thursday, actually, talking of webinars, this coming Thursday, we are going to be going into the supermarket again and doing a cost of living analysis here in Portugal. Astrid, strong point for Astrid. There in those presentations of going into the supermarket and comparing the prices there and looking at sample meals that can be made from the ingredients and finding out the cost of them here in Portugal. Tomorrow then, Dougie should be with us, although I need to confirm that. He may well still be in France or may have tried to escape the heat of France, only to find himself frying in Wales instead. And then move to Portugal Thursday. Well, we're going to have Ian and Fabrizio back, weren't we? But they're a bit busy this week, so we have a different guest to confirm for Thursday. And on Friday, it's going to be a Philomena Friday. She's already been sending in pictures. She wants to continue our discussion and the fun of Portuguese festas. And Mac will be back. Mac joined us once before, talking about his motorcycle-based festa that he's a key part of, and he'll join us again on Friday alongside Philomena. So join us then, and have a great day, folks. And it's time to whistle our way into the day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for an Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Take care. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao for now. Where's that outro? There it is.